Oftentimes I think back to my childhood and the stories I wrote. I realized that programming of certain societal norms were influencing my writing. The music I listened to from the radio was very sexual. Even now as an adult I notice that children are exposed to violent and sexual music. Artists like Sexy Red and 21 Savage or Rod Wave have explicit lyrics that children really should not be exposed to. Children need to be able to know who they are as an individual so they don't fall for peer pressure and programming or grooming through the music and television or social media. I realized that I was being influenced by many different things in society. I decided at 15 years old that I needed to figure out what I wanted to watch and listen to. I wanted to be more intentional about what my mind was receiving through music and television. I didn't have access to social media until I was 17, and I admit I got caught up in things I regret now as an adult. But I believe the younger generations are a little more safe from internet predators because streaming is more acceptable and common now. Still think the younger generations are not safe from grooming in interpersonal situation or social media influence. As I edit my Call of Duty video, I see that the majority of United States entertainment is overly sexual, violent, and perverse. There are even parts of our society that thinks preschoolers should understand sexuality and norms for the LGBTQ+ adult communities. I reached a dilemma in my thoughts last week. I love playing Call of Duty, but how are my adult hobbies possibly influencing the children of my family? I believe in freedom and evolving a person's individuality, especially at a young age, but I question how to balance being a free adult but not influencing children or the next generation to do habits I like doing just because they see I like those activities. Some activities adults enjoy are not good living habits but are fun to do in moderation. I am afraid for the next generation because most adults have been groomed, brainwashed, and abused. We are still trying to fix society from developed entertainment and government oppression from the 70s and 80s. At times we struggle in our marriages and sexual relationships because of what we are exposed to as children. The younger generations should, in my opinion, have a chance to really discover who they are without extra confusing influence. I wanted to be an athlete and a filmmaker. I noticed that some children in my family want to be visual artists and researchers. So I decided to leave so my habits would not interfere with their development and individuality. I believe my decision to leave my nieces and nephews was important for less confusion in their personality development. I wish I was given that same treatment because the amount of negative influence and different ideologies that surrounded me as a youth really fucked me up as a person. Too much information of how a person should live was the problem, as well as mental or physical punishment for being different or wanting to develop my own ideologies. I was told that children don't know themselves or how to keep themselves safe, but I did. However, I was taught that society is right and my ideals of safety are against religion and social or legal norms. I find life difficult to navigate with social interactions. I was in another country having conversations with people who thought that having a conversation with a violent person would help them transition into a peaceful person. I was unsure what to say to them. I even went through scenarios like, what if the person punches a person? What if they pull a gun on a person in their face? I asked so many times what should be done. I kept hearing de-escalation. But I didn't agree with what they were saying, because how can you de-escalate someone trying to rape you or murder you? What is there to talk about with someone trying to take your booty unconsented? How can you de-escalate someone shooting a gun in the air saying they are going to kill you? So much confusion in human survival because of so many overly influenced ideologies. I was so frustrated I kept changing my mind on the subject in that moment, until I thought to myself, fuck it, I'm done with this conversation, and I figured out a way to walk off. Later that night, I sat at the table just listening to those same people argue over shit I don't think is even relevant for what the fuck we have to do to help society preserve freedom and creating a better self-defense legal system. One that's not racially or mental health bias. I am still trying to heal from my own trauma and brainwashing as well as mental health issues. I also struggle with the unfair consequences in social situations involving people physically violating me. I don't know where our country will be in 10 years, but I think I made the right decision with my families so the next generations will have a better opportunity for self-awareness and individuality, or at least know who they really are. I noticed that the other adults in my families do not agree with my ideologies of self-defense and self-awareness and self-protection, so I don't want to influence their children or grandchildren to think like me or be like me. I'm different than most people. I don't want to influence someone to think like me out of fear of rejection, or because they like me, or because everyone is in agreement and another person does not want to be left out in ideals. I understand that most people want democracy, or the republic or majority vote. I also understand that people like certain parts of our society. I question, can other ideologies exist to help our country develop to a place that could be a little more safe, for everyone? A society of no sex trafficking, grooming, and sexual harassment or psychological harassment, a country that does not reinforce cancel culture or the taking away of someone's livelihood because their personal life ideologies are different than the majority of society. For example, if a person is cursed out at work then slapped, the victim should have many options of how to handle the situation without losing their job. Or if an employee decides to record someone harassing them, there should not be a consequence for their actions. I remember a young lady losing her job for trying to report child abuse in Walmart. I don't know if that young lady received unemployment, but I don't agree with her being fired for trying to protect a child. I hope she found a better job. But that's all I have for today's chat. I just wanted to vent a little bit about things I worry about with human life. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any suggestions for Call of Duty gameplay or about the video.